What if your phone rang at 3 a.m. and the voice on the other end was yours? Not someone who sounded like you. Your voice. Exactly. Completely. Knowing things only you could possibly know, and warning you about something terrible that was about to happen. Claire Ashworth answered that call, and nothing was ever the same again. This is that story. There are moments in life that divide everything into before and after. Most people can name theirs immediately. The moment they fell in love, the moment they lost someone, the moment everything changed. Claire Ashworth's moment came at exactly 3:07 a.m. on a Thursday morning in October. When her phone rang, she had been a light sleeper her whole life, the kind of person who woke at the smallest sound, a car outside, a door closing 2 floors down, the particular silence that meant rain was coming. So when the phone rang, she was awake before the second ring. She reached for it without thinking, checked the screen in the dark. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Almost. Something made her answer. She could never explain what. Just a feeling, deep and certain and impossible to name, that this call was not something she could let go to voicemail. She pressed answer, held the phone to her ear. "Hello," she said. A silence. Then a voice. Her voice. Not similar, not like hers. Not someone doing an impression. Her voice. Exactly. Completely. Down to the slight catch she had on the letter R that she had carried since childhood. And her voice said, "Claire, listen carefully. You don't have much time, and you need to believe what I'm about to tell you." Claire sat up in the dark of her bedroom, her heart hammering. "Who is this?" she whispered. Another silence. Then the voice again. "It's you," it said. 3 years from now. And Claire, something terrible is about to happen. Something you can still stop, but only if you listen. Claire sat in the dark for a long moment. Every rational instinct she had told her to hang up, to put the phone down and go back to sleep and deal with whatever prank this was in the morning. She didn't hang up. "Tell me something only I would know," she said. A pause. Then the voice, her voice, spoke quietly and carefully. It said, "When you were 9 years old, you hid your mother's birthday present under the loose floorboard in your bedroom because you were afraid she would find it. You wrapped it in the blue scarf you got for Christmas. You never told anyone, not even Mum." Claire's hand tightened on the phone. Nobody knew that. Not a single person on earth. She had thought about that hiding place perhaps twice in 20 years. "Okay," she said slowly. "I am listening." The voice on the other end let out a breath, something that sounded like relief. "In 4 days," it said, "a man named Daniel Frost is going to come into your life. He will seem kind, intelligent, exactly the kind of person you have been hoping to meet. And Claire, he is not what he appears to be." Claire pulled her knees up to her chest in the dark. "What do you mean?" The voice continued, calm and certain, and carrying the particular weight of someone who already knew how this conversation was going to go, because they had lived it before. 3 years ago, from where I am standing, I met Daniel Frost. I trusted him. I believed everything he told me. And by the time I understood what he really was, it was too late to do anything about it. A pause. "But you still have 4 days. And if you make different choices than I did, everything changes." Claire spent the rest of that night wide awake. She sat at her kitchen table with a cup of tea she forgot to drink and thought about everything the voice had told her. About Daniel Frost. About what he had done. About the choices that had led from a chance meeting at a conference to 3 years of carefully constructed lies and a life she had only barely managed to escape. The voice had been precise, detailed, the kind of detail that could only come from someone who had lived through every moment, the kind of detail that could only come from her. By morning, she had made a decision. She was going to the conference anyway, not to avoid Daniel Frost, to find him. She needed to see for herself, needed to look at the face the voice had described and understand what she was dealing with, needed to know whether the woman on the phone, whether she herself 3 years from now, was right. The conference was on the Friday, 2 days away. Claire spent those 2 days preparing carefully. She reread every detail the voice had given her, the way Daniel Frost would approach her, the things he would say, the particular smile the voice had described as charming and deliberate and practiced. She wrote it all down in a notebook. Then she did something the voice had not told her to do. She called a friend who worked in financial fraud investigation. Just a conversation, she said. Hypothetical. If someone wanted to check whether a person had any history of financial irregularities, where would they start? Her friend was quiet for a moment. "Give me a name," she said. Claire gave her Daniel Frost. By Thursday evening, her friend called back. "Claire," she said carefully, "where did you hear that name?" Claire felt the cold certainty of it settle in her chest. "Why?" she said. "Because Daniel Frost," her friend said slowly, "has been on our watch list for 18 months. Different name each time, different city, same pattern. He targets professional women, gains their trust, gets access to their finances, and disappears." She paused. "We have never been able to catch him in the act. He always moves on before we can build a case." Claire looked at her notebook. "What if you could," she said quietly. Claire met Daniel Frost at the conference on Friday morning. He was exactly as the voice had described. Tall, well-dressed. A smile that arrived just slightly too quickly and stayed just slightly too long. The kind of man who made you feel like the most interesting person in the room and made sure you noticed him noticing you. He introduced himself at the coffee station between the morning sessions. "Claire Ashworth," she said, shaking his hand, smiling back, and watching everything. She spent 3 hours with him that day, careful and deliberate, giving him exactly what the voice had told her she had given him 3 years ago. Enough interest to keep him engaged, enough warmth to make him confident, enough information to make him believe she was exactly the kind of person he was looking for, all the while taking note of every inconsistency, every carefully placed detail that didn't quite fit, every moment where the charm slipped just slightly and something colder showed through underneath. By the end of the conference, she had given her friend everything she needed. It took 6 weeks to build the case properly. Daniel Frost, or whatever his real name was arrested on a Tuesday morning in December. 3 other women came forward within days. The case was solid, unbreakable. Claire sat in her flat that evening and looked at her phone for a long time. She thought about the voice, about what it had cost the woman on the other end of that call to live through 3 years of damage before finding a way back, about the particular courage it took to reach across time, or whatever that call had been, and try to change something that had already happened to you. She thought about whether she would ever understand what that call really was. She decided she probably wouldn't, and that was all right. Some things didn't need to be explained. They just needed to be believed. She picked up her phone, opened a new contact, typed a name she would never call, a number that had never existed, and saved it as yourself. 3 years from now. Thank you. Then she put the phone down, made herself a proper cup of tea, and sat in the quiet of her flat. feeling something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Ready? That was the Unseen Hour, a story about the warnings we wish we had received, the voices we never listened to, and what happens when the most important advice you ever get comes from yourself. If you could call your future self tonight, what would you ask? Subscribe to The Unseen Hour. A brand new story is coming very soon. And remember, the wisest voice you will ever hear is the one you already carry inside you. Good night.